Good evening, everyone. You are now listening to Life Lessons for Times Such as Now with your host, Tracy. Hey, Tracy.
Hey, Joanna.
Chris- Hi, Crystal.
Hey, Joanna.
Hi, and of course, your girl, Joanna. And we have a special guest today who I'm going to introduce in 1 second. The show today is about old school versus new school parenting.
Hmm. Mm.
With our special guest, Miss Candy. Hi, Candy.
Hi,
Hello,
Candy.
everyone. Hello,
Candy.
Welcome to the show.
and
We're
thank you
so
for
Welcome.
having
excited.
me.
We're so excited to have you on our show today.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. I'm so excited and ready to dive in.
I love
All
it.
right. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe. With that said, again, the topic for today is old school versus new school parenting. And I have to say that I'm pretty much, I would say, raising my kids during my generation of raising the kids, I would say I'm old school with a hint of maybe a little bit of new school, very little, because I think what stands out for me with when it comes to parenting is respect.
Hmm.
Teaching your child to be respectful of all, not just because I'm mommy and I'm daddy, or that means all. That means you can see an elder out in the street and you have to respect that elder. Um, Respect, and my thing was always about molding the child. Um, and that's what we supposed to do, I guess, mold the child. But one thing I felt, now I'm not gonna say I felt because I didn't fell. One thing I could say that maybe I didn't follow was letting them learn their hard knock lessons
Hmm.
without me being a helicopter mom over them.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts? What are y'all some of your
Yeah,
thoughts?
yeah. I think that you're right on that end, right? That and that's what makes it more so new school. Because if you talk about old school, you talk about when we were younger and they were super duper strict, right? You
Yeah.
can't, you can't be outside past the street lights if it comes on. You can't do certain things. You definitely couldn't be disrespectful to anyone, especially adults. It was a little bit different because the neighborhood or the community would be able to chastise you, right? And then your mother's going to come behind them and get you as well because that's how it was then. With new school, for me, it's too relaxed. It's too relaxed. But how do you find the middle? Because for me, you're right. I think they were so strict that I had to be slightly more lenient because I didn't want to do it the way that they did. Um, Lastly, I just feel like when your kids become adults, like my kids are, um, do you help them? Yes. But old school is like you're on your own, right? Today, I just felt like you can help them, you know, to a limit. And we can go into that later.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. I think I had like the best of, both worlds. My father, he was like very, very, very strict, and he did very little to help. Whereas my mother, on the other hand, she did help us out more, with things, you know what I mean? Um, I think for me, I think old school, it was also about respect, but it was also about family value. And I
That's
think,
it right there.
yeah, and I think today is so far fetched. Families don't get together. The family reunions are dwindling. You don't see the newer generation coming out to these events. And I'm realizing, even with my own family reunion, that I don't know half of my cousins and such, because no one comes, only mainly the older people. You know, the older people, we need to know the younger ones.
I
Yeah.
agree with that. I don't think that, and I'm just really, just my opinion, that family is not pushed as much as it was back in the day. I don't believe that is as important. Everything more so is about me, me, me.
That part,
Right.
yeah.
And so I don't care to get to know you because it's about me. You know, back in the day, it was more so like, we're going to have family reunions, we're going to have cookouts, we're going to, we're going to do these things to instill those family values, right? To instill the fact that we are blood, we are relatives, and that we should love one another. Today, it's just not like that.
You know, and for me, I think that Chris is right when she says it's about family values, because raising my kids, not just the three that I gave birth to, but my bonus kids, you can tell that there are so many different ways in raising the kids. Like my oldest son and my middle child, my daughter, they're 10 years apart. And I can tell that me as a parent, the how I evolved. When I had
Yeah.
my son, I was 20.
Yeah.
So by the time I had her, I was 30. So okay, I'm more mature. I know better. Then when I had the last one, Cody, I was 35. Okay. So
You
there's a
was just tired by then, right? You
yes,
tired.
it was. So it was like, okay, go wash yourself. Okay, go feed yourself. But yeah, but I think with
Right.
family, it's just like looking at all of us. You know, I'm in Georgia. Joanna's in Pennsylvania. Chris is in Jersey. You're in New York. We're like all over the place. So especially after COVID, it was harder for us to get together to plan and, you know, and I think we're still trying to recover from it.
I
Yeah.
mean, I would agree with that too, but
Yeah.
I have to definitely say, um, I think for our family, for my family especially, something was lost a long time ago when
Mm.
my generational, like myself and maybe my cousins, we that it's we turned into the era of it's all about me because we had so some of that, we didn't, like what Tracy said earlier, raising our kids, we didn't want to be as hard as our parents because we felt they were so strict. But as much as we felt they were so strict, I personally feel for me, but I turned out, look how I turned out. It took me to hit the concrete and get back up, but I got back up. These kids nowadays, they make you say, yo, listen, if one somebody, I heard somebody say, a comedian say this joke just recently too. She said, you ain't a mother until you got a 14-year-old that you want to bust her behind like she was somebody in the street.
You better
You know
say
what
it.
I mean? We can sugarcoat it however we like it, but these kids are different, new, and I'm sorry. I'm glad that that I raised mine, and I'm not dealing with that. Even though, when it comes to the grandkids, 'cause my kids are like, "Oh my God, you wouldn't let me get away with that," or this, and that. But the structure, the family structure, is no longer there.
Mm,
The hierarchies are not there. And if
right.
they are, they're too tight. The culture has shifted. You know what I mean?
I
It's how
agree. I agree. And I don't mean to just jump right in there. I'm sorry. But you said some things right there, Joanna, because I really feel like now parents just want to be their children's friend, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to do the parenting. They just want to be their friend. I think that children now are able to sit in, and have conversations with grown people at the table, right?
Yeah.
And they can,
Mhm.
they are treated as, hey, we can sit at the table and talk about adult situations as well.
Right.
I feel like now that we raise our children to feel a sense of entitlement, right? Because they don't get sometimes, like, there's consequences and that they don't get it. But I think that we don't push it as much as they did back in the day.
Yeah.
exactly. I agree with that. We don't push it
Yeah.
at all. And it's because we tired with the L.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, it is our fault because for a lot of, for all the reasons that Tracy and you said, Joanna, we didn't want to be as hard, but we were hard. I know I was, but like you said, we got tired. Like you, Candy, my children are 12 years apart. So I was tired when my son came along, you know what I mean? So yeah, so it's all of that. So my thing is, how do we get that back though? How do we get it back?
That's a great
Do we
question.
get it? Do we
Oh,
get
go
it
ahead.
back, or do we change with the times? Because everything changes. Nothing ever stays the same. So we
Yeah.
can't get that structure back that we want. So how can we create a new way that would fit our needs as well, or satisfy us as well?
So
Or
that's
prepare our
so that's
children.
getting it back. So that's a good, yeah. How do we do that? So how do we incorporate the old with the new? You know
Well,
what I
to me,
mean?
I think that it's in preparation,
Hmm.
right? Because it ain't about us, right? We already lived. It's more so how do we prepare our children for this life that they will be in, right?
Hmm.
And whatever we do on the inside, it's a reflection, right, of how we taught them when they go outside. So if they can't get up in the morning, it's because we didn't tell them to. If they don't clean up, it's because we didn't tell them to. If they don't have respect for adults, it's because we didn't tell them to. How do we connect both of them, right? To the old, to the new. And just like what Joanna said, I love it. When you said, you have to go with the times, you do. But how do you instill some of those old time values?
I don't know. Get rid of the internet. Let's start there.
That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
I
right.
know. You're right. You're right.
I think we have to be mindful. I mean, well, like you said, all of our children are grown now. So I think that, we did well with raising our children because our children know about respect. They know about how to work. They know to stay in a child's place and don't be in grown folk, business, so they know these things. So it's our grandchildren, but we're not there all the time to, um, you know, to tell them what to do and what not to do, or to tell the children, hey, pull this back. Don't let them sit here while we having this adult conversation. Make them go in a room. That's why they're so grown now. So, but
Yeah,
anyway.
I agree with you. Like when I talk to my son about his oldest daughter, he makes excuses for her. Oh, she doesn't feel like talking today. No, forget that. I'm grandma. I said hello.
Right.
Say hello. So
Right, right.
it's I think we lost the importance of being around the elders of the family. Like go and listen to great aunt so and so, even though she may
Mhm.
repeat things
Mhm.
10
Yeah.
times. Listen, because there's nuggets in there, things that we need to share with our children, and it can be passed along. So we've lost a lot of that. I remember I was telling my sister-in-law that oh, my uncle, he doesn't know what he's talking about. She said, Ken, when did we become that culture that doesn't listen? He knows what he's talking about. It's just that
Mhm.
he's talking from a different time frame, and you're here, but if you listen to him, there's value in what he has to say. So we just don't, and that made me like really second guess myself and say, oh, you know what? You're right. So now it's
Right.
like, okay, I listen, I hear you.
Right. Because
Mhm.
think about it. If we're not listening, why would we expect them to listen?
Yep,
Mhm.
yep,
Mhm. Mhm.
yep.
I definitely
Yeah.
agree with you though, Candy, because are there any more big mamas, as they would call them, or nanas, or aunties, as you would say? Are they still around, right? And if they are they listening to them?
Well, a lot of the grandmothers, they want to be mama rather than being a grandmother. You know, they want to be young. Yeah, I want to be a young grandmother, but I still want to be able to get that respect that goes along with. I remember my grandmother, you know, the respect, just like y'all was saying, the respect that goes along with it. I don't want to be her friend. I don't want to be their friend. I want to be that one. Oh, we're going to grandma's house. It's Sunday dinner, you know. But
No, and that's good.
Yeah.
But I think what the problem comes in with that is a lot of grandmas, especially the ones that had their children young.
yeah,
So now here you got a grandmother at 40 years old. Who you calling grandma? You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
And then like for myself, yes, I'm a grandma. I want that respect. But I'm still living. You shouldn't have had the kids when you had, meaning not me. You should have my grandbabies a little later. You know, you didn't wait till I got to that age to want to stay at home, and you
Better
know
say
what
it.
I'm saying? It's different
You better say it.
all around. I'm not baby sweat. Come on now, you know?
Yeah,
No,
but that is
Joanna,
the
that's not
thing.
happening.
No, well, it is because it happens, and I don't mind. But I'm just saying when Candace spoke about um, you know, being that type of grandmother, we're not our grandmother.
Right.
We're
Right.
totally different. In fact, our grandmothers, I hate to say it, had too many secrets, held too many things inside. So they
Right.
didn't share nothing with us.
Right.
And our kids are sharing everything with their kids. And we didn't get none of those gems. We had to learn everything pretty much on our own.
Yeah, I mean, just like with me with my grandchildren, right? And I try to speak with wisdom, right? Because I don't want them to walk, in my shoes, and I want them to learn. And so sometimes when I speak, they're quick to say, "Oh, grandma, like you don't know nothing. Today is not like that. It's different. It was different then than it is today." Or sometimes they try to get slick or try to manipulate me. And I have to say, you don't know me. You only know grandma,
Right.
but you don't know me as Tracy, right? So don't underestimate what I know. You know what I mean? But I think that children today really come out the womb, to me, grown. They
Yes,
come
they
out
do.
grown,
They do.
right? I
Yeah.
think that
That's
even,
true.
with my children, some of them had children early as well, that for some reason their logic is, you're the grandmother, you're supposed to, help me. You're supposed to help me with the children. That's not true. These are your children. I can help
Right.
guide you. I can guide you. I can support you when you need it, but that's not my responsibility. I'm not the baby daddy. I'm not the baby daddy. Right?
Exactly. I agree.
Wait, you ain't the baby daddy try.
No, I'm not the baby
You
daddy. That's
you
his
are the
responsibility.
So
as
she's
more
like, look, wait, I ain't the baby. Oh,
It's
you
the
sorry, I didn't
truth.
are
say
the father.
Right. I am not the father. But kids today, that's how they feel and they believe it because they watch their family, I mean their other families or friends, and they see that their mothers are helping them out. And so they saying, well, why aren't you helping me? Because I did my job. And I'm tired. I did my job and I just want to be grandma. See you when I want to see you, help when I want to help, support when I want to support. But I just think, you're absolutely correct. The internet, social media, guide our children. How are we going to be able to guide that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then it goes back again to what you said earlier. They feel the sense of entitlement and they want everything microwave. They don't feel like that they really have to work for anything, and I don't really have to do anything. Again, which some of that is our fault because like Joanna said, we never let them really fall. You know what I mean? We was always there to catch them before they really, boom, hit the ground. You know what I'm saying? So some of it is our fault, but I think that I think us as the matriarch of our families now, well, for me, because my mother is gone, that I'm going to still push harder again to try to keep like those Sunday dinners, I keep trying to get them to come, but I'm going to somehow make this happen at least once a month. If we can't do it every Sunday, I'm not going to cook every Sunday anyway.
Right.
But at least once a month that we can do that, and then have those family gatherings again, the barbecues and things like that, at least a couple of times a year to get everybody together, because I'm tired of seeing my family at weddings and funerals. I want to see them outside of that.
You are so right.
Absolutely. I
Yes.
agree with that as well. The thing with me though is that, I'm one of those grandmas that don't like to cook like that. So when I do cook, my children and my grandchildren like to come over because it's very rare, right? But then even for me, sometimes it becomes overwhelming because I have a few of them, right? And so, after a while, it's like, what time is it? What time is it?
Time for you to go.
It's time.
I gotta admit, I mean, for me, I'm not that grandmother that cooks that soul food. Like I can burn, I can cook, soul food, but I've changed my eating habits. So now I cook a lot of vegetables, and these kids are like, what's that, Mimi? I'm like, it's good for you. You're gonna be grateful that you ate, you had to eat it, but they wouldn't mind junk food all day
Yeah,
if you let them.
right.
And parents today, that's what they're doing.
That's-
Just like
yeah.
what Kristen said about microwave. Well, literally, that's
Yeah.
what they're living on, right? Throw it in the microwave, take them to Popeyes, McDonald's, or whatever. So do they even understand or know home cooked meals? I know some of my grandchildren look at vegetables like, it's the devil. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not eating that,
Right.
So it's a lot of changes today that concerns me, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of that real quick, we went to McDonald's or the fast food, whatever, that was a treat. You know what I mean? Because we grew up with home cooked meals every day. So to go to McDonald's was like, that was a treat. Oh wow, we're going to McDonald's. We're going to get a little Big Mac and some fries from McDonald's. Woohoo!
It
Yeah,
was a treat.
nowadays you go to McDonald's and you paying so much money just for a freaking burger, just for a piece of bread. Hello, come on now.
Well, my oldest son, he was raised on a chef called Boyardee. So that was his personal cook. But
Nice.
I evolved since that time. So,
Well, at least he had a chef, Candy.
well, he made raviolis and beefaroni and you name
Hey.
it.
Oh,
That chef, he threw that.
so his beefaroni ravioli is today's oodles and noodles.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
Right,
That's
right.
true.
That's it.
Mm-mm. No Franks, no Spam, no fried bologna with the bubble and the cheese.
Oh, yeah, they don't know what that
I
stuff
don't know
is.
nothing about that, right?
No.
no. And
That's
my
the
kids
poor
don't even
man's
eat
meal.
fast food
Mhm.
anymore.
Right.
I'll go to McDonald's and they're like, why are you still going to McDonald's? They don't eat fast food anymore. So
That's good.
Oh, okay. Me and them can run together. Well,
yeah,
I'm not gonna say I don't dip and dot. McDonald's, only thing if I go to McDonald's is their fries and maybe the chicken nuggets. But trust me, it's like,
Yeah, that's all. Once in a blue moon. Once in
yeah.
a blue moon.
well, once you look at how the chicken nuggets are made, you may stop eating those too.
Let me
Yeah,
tell you
Yeah, I've
something. You
heard
can
about
look at
that.
everything, how everything is made,
everything.
not
Yeah.
made, bought, injected. You might as well not eat.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
So
yeah. That's why everybody's sick, I believe, because it's stuff in the water, it's stuff in the air, like you said, injections and pesticides. You don't even know what you're eating. Everything seems like it's GMO. Even rice could be plastic.
Mm.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what are we eating today?
Right.
Well,
All of
I
it's
think that the
manufactured.
kids nowadays are more open-minded to the new ways of food. You know, preparing their food with the vegetables, being a lot of them are trying the vegan thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they hopefully will be a little healthier than we were because we ate everything. And not just because we was hungry, but we ain't had no choice. You know what I
That
mean?
part.
Whatever was made, that was
Ooh,
it.
liver.
Well, yeah, but I was really kind of funky when I was younger and very particular. And my parents used to rice us to death. Like
Mhm.
you had all kind of
Rice
white
bowl.
rice, this rice, this boiled chicken, fried chicken, baked chicken. I mean, I couldn't, I mean, it got to a point that I could not eat rice anymore unless it
Yeah.
had gravy or it was yellow rice or something like that. You know what I mean? Because again, back in those days, or cornbread, I couldn't do cornbread anymore because that's all they would make, right? And that was just really to fill you up. So I call it like the poor man's meal because you had to make things to fill you up, to stick to the bones.
Right.
Today, kids are like, I'm not eating it.
Yeah.
Well, you won't eat then. Go
Well,
to
you
bed.
don't eat. That's how I say
Yeah.
it too. Okay.
That's so true. So, does anyone, let's start with Joanna. Do you have any last words, my dear?
Well, I would say, in a nice, polite way, forget them kids. But no. Um, but no, that's the new me. But honestly, I just think that, and I hope that some kind of way, this next generation will take back family and try to cherish and be there for each other. And I think more and more, especially young men, are stepping in and raising their children.
Mhm.
Half of them are doing sometimes a better job than the girl. Because the girl now is trying to play the role as the man and bring the bacon home, and they're saying, it's confusing, but I just want everyone to know that it is okay to love your kids from a distance.
Crystal?
Well, yeah, well, as for me, I think like we discussed earlier, we do have to change with the times, but I don't think that we have to remove, be so far removed from who we are. I think it's still very important for us to plant the seed and go back and water it, because we can't make grown folk do anything, and just trust what we did teach our children, that they will have those values, even if they don't have all of them, that they can still instill those values that we taught them, and hopefully it'll go down from generation to generation.
That's good. Miss Candy?
So I think that it's important to create memories. I know that for me, a lot of my memories weren't great memories growing up, and I want to change that dynamics for my grandchildren, so that it's not a thing where you come to grandma's house, oh, don't touch that, sit there, don't move, or where there's a lot of yelling and arguing. And I know this may be like so different from what I'm saying now from what we were talking about, but I can only go by what I've known. And I just want to change that dynamics for my children, so that when they look back and they remember the times they've been around grandma, oh, she was goofy. Oh, she danced with us. Oh, we did. Sorry, y'all. We had a great time with her. She was funny. Oh, she was silly. That's who I want them to remember. I don't want them to see me and remember me as an old lady, like growing up, I remember the first snow. My mother would take us out, and we would, no matter what time it was, 2, 3 in the morning, she would take us out, and we would go play in the snow in the projects in Harlem. And it was those were the best memories. So I like to, continue with those types of values. So that's what I have.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Changing the narrative, right?
Mhm.
Old school, new school. I think, Joanna was right when she said, you have to go with the times. But there's some old school values that you never want, to give up, right? You never want to change for anything, because that's what have us where we are today. Again, I also agree with what Candy was saying, and Chris, you guys made some great points. I want my grandchildren to see me the same way. They see me dance, they see me do all those things as well. But I also, even in that, right? Even in that, I like to teach them. I always want to show them, what life is about, right? And you can take anything that you do with your children and you can make it as an example to give them wisdom about life. Because what it's about preparation of going out into that world. We want to thank you, Candy, for coming in and speaking and chatting with us. Thank you so much. Guys, if you like what you heard, please click like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, we want to say thank you, guys, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like.